So as we discussed and we saw in our last session, we would be taking up 5.4, but as a subsection wise in each of our day sessions. So our starting session on 5.4 is system access permission. So what is system access permission? So it allows someone to get an access to the system. Why do I need it? Possibly to read, create, modify, delete file or data. I mean, basically do some work on the system. So now this access is given at two levels. One is at the physical level, another is at the logical level. Now it could be a combination of both, or it could be either. Now, when you have this access given, this is on a need to know basis, and it is role based. So you would possibly have unique IDs which could actually be traced out in case of any issues. Now, you would also have layers in this access being given. So you could have a network layer, you could have a platform layer, you could have databases and application layers. So to have all this in place, you would just not be able to give an access to anyone. You would have proper rules, proper policies. So now these rules, it could be applied at the individual level or at the group level. So possibly, so suppose to say that Mr. A, Mr. B, Mr. C, all are administrators, all require same access rights to the server. So they could be possibly grouped. Whereas at the individual level, you could say no, only Mr. C should have an admin right, others should not. Then it will be only Mr. C who will have it. Now, the person who gives this access, possibly the data owner, should actually be reviewing this access to see the applicability or the validity of the accesses being given. So what might happen is someone might have actually got a role change. Someone might be resigning. Someone might have, finished their tenure for that role, or someone might have had an intra-department or inter-department role change. So in such cases, what would happen? If someone were not to review the access rights being accorded on a periodic frequency, you would have actually redundant access lists. So might happen that Mr. C is no more requiring that particular access which he or she has been given, but it is still showing up because it has not been corrected by the person who had initially given that access right, and it has not gone through the process of access review. So these things are very important. So from an auditing angle also, when actually as an auditor you step in and you see these things, so you should actually see the policy or the process through which an access is accorded, how is it maintained, and how these reviews happen. So with this we come to an end of our session of today. So as we will proceed this way, I would request everyone who wants to be a part of this journey to subscribe to my channel. So with that, you would actually be knowing any new update that I keep giving, and I keep giving them on a periodic, frequent basis, so that we proceed very smoothly on our journey of CISA. And do reach out to me in case you have any queries or any further sessions on some specific aspects, because as we are getting more deeper into domain 5 and into these areas, I would strongly recommend that you have a better grip on the issues that we keep discussing. Thanks everyone for hearing me out.